Funky indeed. Hello everybody, welcome to VR Master League Channel 2, and welcome to Lulz in the chats. And welcome, I'm Palidore. I got my cranberry, I've got a very good match ahead of me. I even have some pizza. Shout out to Pizza League. It's a good night. It's been a hectic night. Night. Shout out Nike, sponsored by, I guess, no. But, been a hectic night. For those who might have tuned into some streams earlier. But on the whole, it's a good one. Can't complain. Especially because I got Great Apes, I've got Non-Existent, I've got Ooga Booga in the chat. Not in the chat, in the game. How about that? Ooga Booga, of course. The first person to ever meme me video style. So, I don't know, special place in the heart, I guess. That said, yeah, happy to be here to stream Great Apes and Non-Existent. And the gold division for Non-Existent, 9 and 2 on the record, 4 and 3 for the Great Apes. Oh, and this time around, actually, it's just for Ooga Booga. I do have my glasses. Why is it for him? I don't know. I didn't have it earlier, though. Or didn't have them earlier, so I was having to really, like, kind of squint at the chat sometimes to pick out who's who and where's where. But yeah, so, this one, hoping for a fun game. I know, given the personnel, I can expect an interesting one. Good to see Porker and Beat as well. Shout out Onion, I think. Was that correct? Prior seasons? I feel like they were both on Onion, right? I don't know. Hard to remember sometimes. So many changes. But yeah, so for those tuning in here on VRML 1, or on 2, thank you for doing so. Also on VRML 1, you do have a match between Hot Drop and Bangarang. So that one being casted by Nightfire and Newton Dad. So hey, you got some options, one way or the other. But yeah, a lot of matches here tonight. Of course, we had some Master ones earlier on. Saw Spaghetti and Ignite going at it. And Spaghetti's debut this week is part of the Master tier this season. Of course, winning out that Challenger Cup just a weekend ago. Ignite was able to take the victory away in a couple rounds, but it was close. Especially that second round from what I saw there. And just as well, we saw some Overkill and Redshift here on Channel 2. We did have several interesting matches for sure from some of these teams who've just been dominating at the top of the Master or the Diamond Division. But for Great Apes here, and non-existent, trying to work their way to that point. Again, Great Apes looking like they've had 7 games total, so they're a team who has not been here, at least as this roster, since the start, but maybe a couple weeks in they came into it, and just looking to start off this second half of the season in style and success, in fact. So with that, here we go, taking you to the first round joust. It's first shot out by Lucy, and that's a ball. So it will be 3 first. That is a really dated reference there I just made. Even beyond my years. But nonetheless, Lucy, Riggs, Regular, and Clue on the non-existent squad in blue. Over on orange for the Great Apes, it's Oogity Boogity, Oogity Boogity, Ooga Booga, and Beat, Porker, and Wind Hula. How about that? Shout out to Abel Global Bagalob. wherever he may be. But Ooga Booga here with a disc to Wind. Wind with a pass, but just breaks past that barrier into an interception. Take back by, well, actually, never mind. Ooga Booga, the steal back, I should say. So they work their way into the goal. And that's a breaks pass to Wind Hula. Gets it past the goalie. First points now for Great Apes. Of course, want to shout out Solar P, as well as Doc Education, and Luke, Retepworm, all of the above, all of who have casted here tonight, and also throughout the earlier afternoon. Shout out to, I know some OCE presence was in our chat the last couple of streams also. Might get some of those games later on, much later on in the day. But for now, Lucy with a disc, and does see Wind Hula go by, and Hula from the sky! It's 29 meters deep. And that is quite the winning fling. What a hit. They're up by 2 based off that. So lining up this offensive joust now. Back in the tunnel for non-existent. And QBing is Lucy. Trying to control this disc this time around. But unfortunately that backstack now paying dividends for them, so another turnover received by Ooga Booga, but the 3 will be off. Up to the top ceiling and bounce to Riggs. Riggs trying to slap it out of there. Same with Ooga. Over to Porker, actually, and all the juice. What a steal, though, from Regular. Great defense being played there on the Regular from non-existent. Looking to get back onto the offense if they can, but Wind Hula is there on the recovery. The pass from Wind, but Clue getting a clue, in fact, grabbing the disc. Seeing if they can solve this mystery. As will be Regular off that right side. Couldn't get the angle on it, had to release immediately. Lucy with another recovery. Lucy to Clue, Clue to the backboard, and save from Porker. Got those defensive pork chops, I suppose, blocking shots inside that lane. Now flying by that midfielder is that stack. It's Wind there, and it's Wind in that tunnel. Or I guess in the bubble, as the case may be. 7-3. So we saw a good defensive stance from both sides of the floor. It was one stop right in the backboard for non-existent, and then directly in front of the goal on the other side, the Great Apes. So kind of canceled each other out with a great defense, and it did end up in the Great Apes able to score eventually. Super Chicken in the chat, welcome to it. Complimenting the great save. It was indeed a super save. Just as super as the chicken. So as the pace does quicken, Wind Hula now trying to take this over to a cloud shot maybe. Looking a little bit off on the boop shot, rather, as Porker does retain. Tough angle. But man, throwing in all the windmills, why not? Before a pass. Another one as well. I'm not sure if the second one was intentional. I'm going to say it was. Because it was very aesthetic. I love that play from the Great Apes. Anytime you can throw in those extra passes, it gets extra nice. I love seeing it. Gameplay is what it's all about here at Echo. But non-existent. Oop. As my microphone goes tumbling a little bit. Non-existent, they are only behind by 6. They've got plenty of time remaining, trying to dribble it down the floor, although they do get disabled a bit by the defensive stack there. That said, Riggs trying his darndest and actually might succeed. Wow, causing some trouble among all four players on the Great Apes. So ideally, non-existent will be able to capitalize off this and get the disc back, and they do with some great coverage. Oh, and a glancing blow off that backboard. The defense from Great Apes playing pretty well here. Again, they will find a clear first stack, needing to redirect, and they get there with enough time to spare for that pass from Porker to Windhula. A little off on the connection, doesn't matter because Wind gets it right back, but Wind getting stunned. Riggs doing a great job. Now Porker continuing to windmill. Afraid Porker's going to go flying away one of these days. And you know, have you seen pigs fly? I mean, you're about to here on the stream apparently, but a lot of those windmill moves from Porker. I can expect it again. Let's see. Off that wall. There it is. Flying through the sky, and Riggs unable, or actually Beat unable to meet that disc. Ooga Booga, though, rebounds. Defense playing pretty well here to cover. That said, slipping by for a second. Clue trying to catch up to him. Ooga Booga now, having it stolen by Clue. And Clue, the midfield intercept, though, as Porker does maintain control. So another wind around from Beat, and it will eventually find them those points they were looking for. A bit elusive. It did take 1 minute and 31 seconds. But they got there through the scenic route, and that's what counts, right? That persistence. Credit to non-existent. They did put up a good fight there with the defense. But good defenses could only last so long once you have shot after shot after shot being attempted against you. Eventually, it will collapse. So for them, needing to find some points here because they have been stifled for a little while now after those opening few minutes. Unfortunately, turnover. And deep into the back line, actually right back. So this is a chance. They've got the goal, and oh, narrowly missed. That is tough because that would have been a big hit still with 3.5 minutes left. That could have put them in pretty decent position. At least to be able to say that, hey, we're just fine. But because of the miss, they are still down by a little bit. Handful of goals as a tough angle, unable to convert. But midfield actually slipping by that midfielder. So again, another potential window of opportunity. If they get there, they have that angle, and the stack trying to meet it halfway, but it takes a bad ricochet, so they might have had a couple extra seconds to work with, trying to communicate here and latch on for a 2, but a ding. Another rebound to regular, and to Lucy. And they do see the goal, finally, after a minute of action. So hopefully for non-existent, that one gets them going a bit here on this stream in this first round. Because definitely they had a couple of angles at open threes. If they had hit either of those, it would have made their case for a comeback even better and even more likely. Not to say that they're out of the woods yet, because they can still definitely come back. Although if that shot is in, would make things tough. Rebound and fling. Actually, Porker, the dodge. What a move. What a few moves, in fact, from Porker. Stampeding into the goal for the 13th point. 2 minutes remaining just about in this opening round. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And regardless of the results, of course, any points, always important. You'll have that carryover effect. Even if you lose the first round, you still want to be able to execute here regardless. That way you can start out with a great rhythm next time. So Clue, from the bottom, walking up the floor gradually. All 4 players, in fact, kind of placed lower in the lower half of this bubble as they go for that pass, but Riggs being stunned. Some admirable coverage from the Great Apes. Definitely not monkeying around whatsoever. That said, though, rebound, pass there to Clue, to Riggs, actually, from Clue. Riggs with that extra, and that was nice. 7 points on the board. Still a minute of action remaining, at least. talk about persistence. We saw just that from non-existent. Because Great Apes played some tight defense. But those rebounds and then those extra passes at the end did what they needed to do. So beat on this rollout over to Ooga Booga, slinging it Frisbee style down to Porker. Porker lining it back up to Wind Hula. Ooga Booga the cut, Wind Hula the attempted sidestep it looks like, but will be stolen nonetheless by Clue. So as they try to get back into this game late, or at least get some more points on the board. Oh, tough, I think. Looks like Riggs there. Maybe a disconnect of some sort, or accidentally hit the home menu. Who knows? Sometimes that happens if you don't got the settings set right. But that's unfortunate because they did have, although narrowly, oh, good save there by the by. Still goes in, but still a nice grab. But for non-existent, they did have a small window. If off that initial clear, they had scored that open 3 that they had, and that disconnect didn't happen. That could have put them within 3 points. They were, there was only 30 seconds left, but they may have had something there. Unfortunately, though, went the other way, and the first round does go to orange side for the Great Apes, taking it away here in their 8th match of the season. Or their 8th match, I suppose. Depends on how you look at it. But plenty of clock to burn, at least 10 minutes, hopefully 20 if we're lucky, as we go on into the score screen. So courtesy, as always, ignitevr.gg. And yeah, for those joining me once more, I'm Palidore. Over on Channel 1, we do have Newton Dad and Nightfire casting Bangarang versus Hot Drop. That one in the Diamond Division as well. So Hot Drop, let's see, 10-1 on the record. Mighty impressive for sure. Bangarang, 6-3. So, yeah, hot game over there. Of course, this one just as well. Here in Platinum/Gold Division, with non-existent being in Gold 3, and for Great Apes here in Platinum, looking to keep climbing up as they get some more games underneath their wings. Last time around, looks like Great Apes did have some success against Spectral. They won that match. Had a victory in there as well versus Team Reconnect. Kind of up and down, though. Actually, all of the 7 games that they played so far, not counting this one, has been win-loss, win-loss, win-loss for the Great Apes. So you gotta wonder if that streak will continue here, because that would mean that this would be a loss. So if they can get off to a good start in the second round, they might be looking at their first 2-game win streak here of this season. That would be good for them to see. Meanwhile, for non-existent, though, attempting to pressure and push into the defense, all in the bubble. For non-existent, they had actually had a really nice streak going on just a week ago or so, a couple weeks ago. They had won 5 games in a row for non-existent right up until that Challenger Cup break, that break week. And then they lost 1, and then they won 1. So 1-1 this last week or so. The point being. A lot of numbers, I know. But the main point of this is non-existent has actually been pretty on fire this season as well. Suffice to say, how can you not be with a 9-2 record? So, kind of on the back pedal a bit, and they're not a team who's been used to that, it seems like. Of course, a challenging match ahead, and a big score ahead to go ahead by 2 points, getting started the right way, as I say. Teams lining up their launches once more. First offensive joust of round 2 for Wind Hula. And the defense opting to play it way back there. I'm not sure if it was perhaps a botched joust. But yeah, they came out gates pretty far behind. And actually, because of that, interestingly, it's going to enable a goal, walking it in for Ooga Booga and the Great Apes, tying it up. So maybe some miscommunication there from non-existent. Again, they came out of that last defensive joust. Both of those stacks were just kind of hanging out at the barrier around the bubble. And then eventually, a couple of their players went out and pressured at the midfield, but then they just got passed around. So really, the Great Apes were able to walk it in on a pretty nice numbers advantage. It was basically a 4-on-3 or 4-on-2 type thing, because the 2 non-existent players, at least for that play, were non-existent on being stranded behind in the midline. So that's something to watch for sure as the shot goes off. Wow! Just missing and grabbing it was Lucy. Now, I'm not quite sure if that would have dinged in off that three-point attempt. So at minimum, Lucy did potentially save some extra points, an extra point from going in. But either way, that was a big grab. And regardless, it's only a 2-point deficit, so non-existent can't be all too worried whatsoever. That said, though, the stack, the dribble that is, getting broken up here on the offense, and that's happened a few times for non-existent. Maybe something that they want to adjust, because certainly dribbling plays are very effective if you can execute it, but if the defense does know how to meet that dribble halfway through and accommodate, which Great Apes have been able to do, then it's going to need some adjustment for non-existent's part. But nonetheless, beat with a disc and a pass there. Winhula trying to get fancy with it. Had to crank the neck way behind. Hopefully no medical bills about to be paid for that, because that looked painful. But either way, missing the goal off that ding. And it does set sail into a rebound and a steal back from Riggs. Non-existent on a clear, bounce, and a chance. And a chance is all they need. So passing it over to Lucy. It looks like they will need to opt for the reset, which they do. Riggs softly to that opposite side. Regular, the approach. Regular, that long pass and the spin, but could not get that disc off in time before that defense was able to accommodate. Regular trying their absolute best to deal some damage. But all the meanwhile, a goal, trying to dunk, but dinged! Oh, that will sting, but back into the trap, taken by Ooga Booga from the midline. I think one of those cases they were trying to reach for kind of from the back to the front on that that frontwards dunk, but just not quite the wingspan to make it happen, hence the ding. So this does enable an opportunity once more. Clue trying to get a read on that trajectory, but oh, rush to clear a little bit, so that turnover a bit unforced, unfortunately. And that'll get over to Beat, who is unable to clear, although a redirected stack from Porker and Uga will take it back quite nicely. And Winhula now on a clear as well, trusting in the stack maybe to be able to get there, although they do get broken up. So both teams now losing their handles somewhat, as we will be at the halfway point of round 2, and only 3 scores on the board combined between these teams. More good defensive plays happening. A wise dive from Porker out of the goal, as well as Beat trying to meet them there. Ooga Booga, another clear, but another interception. So, really for both sides here, orange and blue, I would say, needing to find some passes because these clears are starting to get a little bit wild and intercepted quite a bit. Again, another kind of unforced one, so that rhythm is all sorts of disjointed at the moment. Will that maintain is the question. Porker walking up the floor. Oh, what a shield that was! But the second one not there. Riggs diving out and disabling, getting some revenge on the teammate, and Porker throwing the arms up in the air, saying, well. But that said, taken back by Clue, and Clue on that clear again. So maybe even a shot attempt, but either way, that's going to be set up for a grab. Regular on the recovery. It's a 2-on-2 inside the bubble. A pass off, handoff, too much sauce. Made it tough to catch with all that power coming off of it. But nonetheless, Clue takes it back. Now Lucy passing it over to Riggs, and Riggs will be able to finally, after 3 minutes and 23 seconds, tie it up at 4 points per team. Way to stick with it. And finally, both these teams, much less myself, have a time to just breathe. Breathe a little bit. There we go. Set off for the next play, and now control the name of the game. Losing control like Missy. It's gonna be, let's see, Clue with maybe a 3 from that pizza slice. No, driving it in. Winhula actually able to rebound themselves into the goal and cover off that line nicely. So no harm, no foul, I suppose. That will be a clear, and now an open 3 on this end. Oh, what a save, Clue! I don't even think Clue was looking. Hunting it down. That is Blue's Clues right there from the blue team. That was a nice grab, but another dive in the handoff play. We've seen that at least 3 times now, paying off 2/3 of the time. Winhula praising Beat. Or nothing else, praising themselves, just saying, that's the stuff, making it rain with those braked passes. Very nicely put together play there from the Great Apes. Now just proving, again, very dynamic and adjustable on the offense. Meanwhile, for non-existent, still perfectly within reach in this second round. Much more so than that first one. But that said, they will be on the back pedal, getting into the goal, crossing it over, just taking the unlikely pinball bounce off that pole. Meanwhile, Clue there trying to disable the stacks and gets at least one of them. So they still might have some numbers yet if they can press this. A 2-on-2 in the goal. Make that a 3-on-3 as they all line up. That, wow, ooh, that pass. I love that as well. What a beautiful score. I'm not sure who got that. Porker was able to get the hands on it to make it change possession briefly, so couldn't quite get a read on who that was, but that was a lovely, lovely passing play. Highlight worthy. I'm shocked in a sense that even got through, because that was not an easy catch whatsoever. So credit to the great reflexes, able to convert on that. So Ooga Booga on this wind up the floor. They've got only 1 minute and 36 seconds left. So every play here, it's crunch, and in the clutch, it's Porker putting just enough to get themselves a 2-point lead. Non-existent though, not one to be denied. They've got plenty of time to rebut just the same. Stack offensively, Lucy and Riggs. Trying to, well, not turn it over. That's been one of the Achilles heels here of non-existent, as they've been pressured just enough on these jousts by the Great Apes throughout this match, where they've really struggled to get it through that line, whether they've done those delayed passing kind of plays or dribbles up the floor. It's going to produce another score. Ooga Booga this time. Once more changing colors off of Lucy on the way in. But the points will be to the Great Apes. They're up by 4, and that may indeed secure them this round. Time is just about out there. So barring kind of the Hail Mary series of plays, where, well, really, they can't afford to have a player hanging back here. So not really even jousting fast enough on that note, and that alone will secure the round. So that whatever window that was narrowly open for them, it will be closed now. They have one chance at a goal. Clue is going to work it up the floor, backboarding it, and unable to convert. One more rebound, but still being left with a stun thanks to the divers. Porker there, and Hula. So in 2 rounds, as this second one does come to a close. That is a sweep indeed for the Great Apes. And handing non-existent a rare loss. Rare loss indeed. This will be only their third loss of the season in 12 tries. So by all extent, non-existent has been a fantastic team all along, but they were just kind of clamped on, it seems like, by the Great Apes here. Really gave them a lot of trouble on those jousts, as I mentioned. A lot of those turnovers, and they were the Achilles heel, I think, at the end of it. And, you know, for the Great Apes, I guess just able to take care of business, and a non-existent, you know, as I always say, the more and more a team wins, the more difficult your matches gets, right? That's how the whole ladder system and MMRs work. So, non-existent, they're playing against this Platinum team in the Great Apes for a very good reason. But, you know, streaks come to a close sometimes, and still yet, though, non-existent, definitely a team to watch out for. They're on the rise. Meanwhile, for the Great Apes, as they get their 8th game completed, a team to also watch out for the rest of this cycle as we go into the last half of our season. Good stuff. But that said, before I send anyone off any which way or the other, let me just check in for you guys on Channel 1 real quick, because we did have a game going on there, but it's probably, yep, just about over, looks like. Actually, hold on, no, there is a 3rd round going on. I mathed wrong. So here, I will send you guys on a raid for anyone in this channel right now. I'll raid you over to Channel 1. That does give you some extra channel points, I think, if you guys want to take advantage of that, so something to be aware of. And here we go. Alright, so join the raid if you do wish. Get a few extra channel points on Channel 1, which you can always use to redeem for having your match casted. Guaranteed. So there's some benefit there for sure. But otherwise, I've been Palidore. This has been a great game. Congrats to the great Apes for a great display. Non-existent. Hope to cast you guys again soon, and keep doing what you guys are doing, killing it. Be happy, healthy, safe, and be great to each other. And I'll see you again real soon. Take it easy.
And we're underway.
Season 4 of VRML Echo Arena is brought to you by HyperX, Asterion Products, VRware, Rebuff Reality, VR Cover, and ProTube VR.